Welcome back, welcome back. Shanae, welcome. Devious, welcome, welcome, welcome. I swear, when I get the time, I'm gonna actually look at how to do the whole like OBS transition, have like a slightly nice thing. I'll try to have it for next week, guys. No promises, of course, but we will see. Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back, everyone. Yes, I was actually looking at this. I think it was the same trade that Don took, maybe. This just spike up here, right? You broke the lows, you were going up, right? You spiked up, but then you kind of like you were respecting something on the hourly, I think. Yeah, you were respecting this level here, and then you suddenly just popped up. I was expecting you to continue down, um, or if you wanted to start breaking up, you probably need to grab liquidity towards these areas, make a bottom wick for this candle, or break some of these lows. I was expecting buys around here, but you never touched. Um, your 30 had no bottom wick, right? So what I was looking for was as this 5 closed no top wick here, and I had no bottom wick, it just pushed up, right? Your last 5 was like still kind of respecting this entire range. So I was looking for the flip of this candle. As it broke this 5, I probably would have been in. I don't know where Don had positions, but I was at work today, so I didn't actually have any positions that were mine, at least. But yeah, that's the only thing I would have really taken. Like, if you look at all of this, right, structure, you're respecting your 30-minute opens up with no bottom wick, right? Your last 30 respected this entire range. You start pushing up, so you're expecting something to get grabbed here anyways, before you're able to push up. So yeah, I think the 4 hour was also respecting at that point. So any given point, you could have just started ripping down. 4 hour break the lows before you start going up. That's what we were expecting, but then after this closed above, you probably could have taken these buys to continue going up, probably. Just off 30-minute, probably, yeah. Like nothing off the 5 because you filled up to here already, right? Maybe some buys above here, but again, I probably would have just waited above overall range. How many pips was this? Like 16? Yeah, I probably would have waited until it broke 2049, which it never did, so hard to say. I would have had to be like been on the charts to catch whatever. This wasn't bad as well, right? Oh yeah, I think yeah, we'll go through it, but like I think the very start of the analysis or yesterday's breakdown, yeah, I was like, yeah, you just gotta push up. You gotta fill 2047 at least before you do anything, right? So that's what you did. You filled. Have I ever met Don and Wicks in person? Yes, I have. So I went to the Miami in person, and then Wicks, Don, Reza, and I, and Don's girlfriend, also, we all just kind of smoked there. And then Wicks drove me home because I was relatively high. He took me back, had some Popeyes at my hostel. I was the only person who lived in a hostel there. Everybody else was like, in Miami, splashing on some like, Airbnb or whatever it was. I was just chilling, man. You can't imagine me, Jacob? Nah, man. Shouldn't have said nothing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Woke up at 4 a.m. still in? Man, commitment. Yeah, literally exposing like 3/4 of the DVS community. Well, now Hus is streaming as well, so 3/5 of the DVS streaming community. Welcome back, guys. Daily closure above the range. But still respecting this as the overall 4. Haven't done anything. For any buys, yeah, I think analysis for from yesterday is still pretty valid. Still looking for a break of the lows to start retesting, but we'll see. Man, I haven't even started the fucking analysis Hus. Everybody go subscribe to Hus. He's also streaming. He's streaming pre-New York. So if you're in Asia or if you're in London, um, join up that analysis, right? Because it's free, right? You get more knowledge. Like all of the streams are free, so just gain more knowledge and you'll become more of a profitable trader quicker, right? So there's no reason not to. Cool guys, I'm gonna start the analysis. We're at half past. Based off of what our analysis was yesterday, first thing I said was, yes, price is likely. There's a very high chance it's just gonna start filling up to 2047 before you did anything. We had these wicks here, right, at around 2043. Price broke into this range, right? So the next thing you're expecting to do is going to be a fill of the range, which you did, right? You continue pushing up, but you didn't have liquidity to continue past 50, yeah, 2050, right? No top wick, start reversing down, maybe some more liquidity. Now you're just in this range now. So we'll see where we're landed now, but the monthly's going to close in 2 days, which is quite good. Like we're pushing up 2053, I think we broke the daily high, right? Yeah. So 2053, it's just looking like we're going to continue up, right? If this was a 5 minute candle, you'd expect it to just continue pushing up, right? Because it's spent the most of its time creating a bottom wick, and now it's going to start pushing up, right? As it's pushing up, you're going to see break of the highs and all of this. So monthly, I'm very bullish. It is unlikely that you'll see the monthly close bearish, right? Or respecting 1991, 1993 sorts of areas, right? So in that case, I'm looking for price to continue up, but likely it will need some sort of liquidity. If it follows price action, there is also a chance that price will just continue to rip up as we're retesting these highs at 2070, and then once we break past there, it's honestly anyone's game, right? The last time we actually broke highs was we made some highs in 2011 and then we broke the highs in 2020, and then we moved up a total of actually we rejected here, so another 1,600 pips before price rejected. That's what we mean, right? Like when price makes a higher high, sometimes it's like, oh, it's just gonna go. And from here, right, when we were at this high in Jesus 1980, we then made a higher high at 1,500 pips before you did anything, right? So as it breaks this high, is it going to also start re-breaking and like testing some unknown territory for gold, right? If it does, cool. Like, it'll be slightly more difficult to trade, but it's not out of the question that we can still look at some price action, especially when it starts consolidating, ranging, and then breaking out of range, right? So that's the monthly. I'm very bullish. That's basically all you need to know. Weekly, as it's pushing up, right? We're still pushing. I would say we broke past here, this range here. So high chance you've also this wick, right? Broke these wicks here. So you have a wick here at 2050. You have a wick here at 2048, 2048 sorts of areas. So as you're breaking that, I'm expecting price to come up to fill the next range, which is 2060, 2067, 2070 sorts of areas. But it's looking like price is slowing down at the moment. It's in that kind of retracement phase a little bit where it needs liquidity to continue driving up. But just off of the weekly, you can't tell because you haven't had a closure yet. But again, I'm just very bullish, right? Very, very bullish. I'm not expecting this weekly to come down to create a bottom wick. Why? Because we've grabbed liquidity here, right? Last time you had this, grab liquidity, you just straight push towards 2040, 40 something. And then you didn't break past. Once you broke past, you just filled up to here, right? So if it is going to grab liquidity, there is still a chance that price will come back down to like 1969 and 1981 sorts of areas. But with how price is looking at the moment, right, we can't tell off the weekly candle. So let's drop down to the daily to remove all our drawings because we're not artists. But I'm going to say you have a range around here. That's going to be my top of the range at 2050 on the daily. understanding that you do have something around these areas where you had to fill the range. It's probably some smaller time frame range here, but I mean, could this be a breakout and then just continuation? I'll just leave it for here for now. Cool. So the daily 2050, you're still in the range. You haven't broken out of the range. Where's the bottom of the range? I would say maybe around 2035, like based off these highs, based off this wick, right? So you came down, you came up. Um, so what are you doing? You're just in a range at the moment. Right here, you have a wick here, filled, didn't break above. You went up to 2055, but you grabbed liquidity and then you started continue pushing up. So is this enough liquidity at 2035, right? Because you tapped around 2035 sorts of areas. So if price just starts to push up now, we're just gonna watch it push. So on the daily, though, you understand that you have closed respecting, you've filled the range. Any given point, price can just start continuing to range here for a while. But we can still get trades within this area, right? This is still a 150 pip range, right? There will, probably can still catch 10 pips in a 150 pip range. But overall, I would say price has, made a high. It now needs to make a higher low before it can go up. Is this going to be a higher low? Just based off the daily, it's difficult to say, but there is a chance. I'm still very bullish, but let's have a look. 4 hour, 4 hour bottom of the range. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Hmm. 2035 is still pretty strong. 2035, maybe slightly further down, like here. It's difficult to say on the 4 hour because this is where we start having less candles, right? So I need to see what's happening in this mess here. Like, is there an hourly level that's there? That's what I need to know. So yeah, it looks like there is, right? On the smaller time frame, so potentially the 515, this is still a range up to here, right? You have a range all the way up to 2036, probably like a 515 range. But on the hourly, it's not too bad. I'd say if you can probably also say you have a slightly cleaner range down here. Um, 2032 potentially. Do I have enough candles? Let's have a look. Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, it's not too bad. I would say generally though, you are just in a range. Whether it's 32 or 34, you're just in this range, right? So based off of the 4 hour, how it's looking, right? Last time you wanted to push above, right? You wanted to go above, you kind of just did, right? So either price just continues to push above and you'll get breakouts above 2050 to continue up, or it's going to grab liquidity, right? It's going to grab liquidity towards, I would say, these 2032, 2031.9 sorts of areas for liquidity, looking at this wick here, looking at that wick. 2034, 35 has already tapped, so I can't really take those. 2031 did tap here, but what does that look like in terms of our current price? I'm going to put a buy wick here for now, but we're getting some structure. Getting some structure on the 4 hour, getting some structure on the 1 hour, not too much on the four, right? But it's only been a day. If price, so with current price action, right? You made a high, obviously. There's some slight retracement here, another high. You came down, broke some of these lows, didn't break the highs again. So in this case, right, you're in a consolidation area. Not much is going around. Not much is going on here in terms of the higher time frame, right? Until you get potentially a breakout of all of these ranges, a closure back in, and then a break above. I don't know if price is going to just continue bullish, right? I'm expecting it to be, right? I'm expecting price to continue pushing up to all-time highs, but is it going to need to grab more liquidity? Right? I don't know. With price ranging here at the moment, though, I think it's a good thing because we need to create more structure in these sorts of areas above like 2050, above like 2040, because we don't have that much data, right? For example, how I just drew up my ranges, it's difficult to say if those are the most accurate of ranges, right? Any given point, there could be more ranges in between that just haven't been formed. So wait for it to form, I would say, and then after that you can look to take some more trades. Let me just see if this is a level. 2039, 2040. It's not too bad. It's not the best either. Twenty 35. Yeah, okay. 29.35. Yeah, 39.35. Okay, so I would say you close respecting. What did the 4 hour do? Yeah. Okay, so you have some sort of area here. You had a breakout below, right? But this was a fake out to come back in. Starting to push price up now. Cool. You have broken the lows, right? So last time you did break, you broke these lows now. Can you push up, right? If you, I mean, it looks like you haven't, right? Because you tapped into 2049. You don't have enough. So I am expecting more price and more liquidity to get grabbed, whether that is in, form, whatever form it is. Um, it'll be, we'll just kind of react to and adapt to how price is moving. But I would say there's in general two ways I can actually get the buys to continue going up, right? Actually, three ways. Either buys when you just break above 2051, right? Bottom wick to continue up, right? I'll draw this in terms of actual candles later. Or price consolidates here, right? Doesn't do much and then breaks these lows. You'll probably need to grab some liquidity to continue down, but I don't want it to grab huge liquidity to come down, right? Just some liquidity. And then to come down to these areas, right? I'll potentially look for buys here, depending on what structure looks like. And again, I'll draw this out. And the last case is if price does something like this, you get a breakout, a bottom wick towards these areas, then I'll look for a buy wick instead. All right, so let's start needing some actual drawings, right? So we're painters here. But for in this case, say you get a bullish closure above, right? What I would wait for is one of two cases. Either price comes back into this range, right? Comes down, finds support somewhere, right? Comes back up, starts closing above this overall level here. I'll then look for those buys to continue up off the rip, right? But it needs to create this. It needs to create the bottom of this range, right? And this, for me, is what it actually is, right? On the lower time frame, this is actually just a bottom, like it's a range on the bottom on the lower time frame, but on the higher time frame, it's just a wick. So what you're going to see on the higher time frame is actually just a candle that looks like this, which just closes above, right? You've continued to drive. You might get some sort of retracement later as you continue up, but something like this, where you have a high, you have your closure, you have where it's open here, and then you have the bottom wick area, right? So that's what I would be looking for, and that's what the higher time frame would look like. Case two is if price is more aggressive, so depending on if it's a session with a shit ton of volume, but something like this could happen where you've pushed up, but you're pushing up like slowly, like this, trickling, right? Just doing this. You haven't really created many steep bottom wicks, I would say. And then if you get a closure above, your next candle comes down, breaks all the lows, right? I'll be looking for potentially just the flip to continue up, or even potentially some wicks down to these areas, right? These entries here, or the flip. The steeper this is, the better, right? If it's not too steep, we'll be looking for the flip to potentially go up. But again, I would say this closure here, I would need it to be a slightly higher time frame. It can't just be 5, right? Because if, for example, the last hourly, so like again, it depends on context. So if the last hourly closed bearish, right, like this, respecting, like this, something like this, right? I can't just take a buy above now because it's showing that price doesn't have enough liquidity on the higher time frames to continue up. In that case, if I'm just getting a 5 closure above any given point, it could just be price creating a top wick for the hourly just to come down, right? Because if it wants to come down, I'm expecting price to come up, break the highs to continue down anyways, right? Something like this. So if that's the case, I can't just take the buys here. I need the hourly to line up. And how that's going to happen is if you get maybe like a 30 closure above or an hourly closure above, your next candle comes down, breaks all the lows, no top wick, take the flip to continue up. That would be beautiful, right? That's what we're looking for. But that is case one, so this case. Case two is here where you have a range and whatever, right? Let's say you start closing below. You're going to start drawing these areas. So you get a closure below. Obviously, to come down to here, either you've grabbed liquidity here or you need to grab a little bit more liquidity. Potentially you break some of the highs, but not that major of a break, right? If it breaks all the way to here and then flips, I'm not taking any buys. I'm taking the sells to come down because you've just broken all the highs to come down. Whereas if it just breaks a little bit and you're coming down, but your hourly, again, the context, right? If your previous hourly closed bullish, respecting here, right? So potentially you get a bullish candle like this after a bearish candle, something like this. On the hourly, right? Something like this. If price, then next candle, let's say this is the hourly, comes down. Oops, it needs to be a green candle. If it comes down, right, all the way to here, and then like with this context, with price closing bullish, right? I'll be looking for the flip or the wick, or most likely the wick entry to continue up. Right? Because then you're breaking all the highs, sorry, you're breaking all the lows, but you close respecting. So any given point, if price wants to drive down anyways, you'll probably need to break these highs somewhere in these areas. So you can take advantage of from here to here. That's your range to trade. In this case though, so for example, price closed respecting like this. On the 5, 15, it may be like, coming down, not slowly, but not very quickly either. But the 5 might look something like this, where you have, a bottom look like this. In this case, right, I'll be looking for a little bit of structure, some confirmation on the 5. For example, right, what I'll look for is 5 to potentially find some level of support, right? And then as it's coming up, break the lows, I'll enter to come up. But again, it depends on the context, and the context is the hourly, the 30-minute, or whatever that needs to close respecting, I'd say here, 2039. Yeah, so that's this middle bit, right? This third scenario is if price does this, you get a closure above, right? We kind of did that breakdown here, and then you get a massive bottom wick to come down. Then yeah, cool. I'll be just looking for this. I think we broke this down just now. But those are the three ways I can get the buyers to continue up. I would say in general, buys are still extremely valid, but you're understanding that right now on the hourly, especially, right, you have broken the lows. If you don't break the highs now, right, or if you in the future when you do break the highs, it could be liquidity for us to come down, right? So you have to be careful. So that's why I'm needing that, bottom wick, very steep bottom wick, or a flip of the candle to continue up, right? I can't really take any trades, I would say, within, this range to here. The bottom wick area probably needs to break even down to here. Wherever it kind of creates support, I'll say it probably needs to come down towards around these areas, 42, 41, for me to continue up, right? If price does something like this, where you get a closure above, and you just have something like this, and then your next candle does something like this, like not that far, but like it does something like this, comes down, just breaks these lows around these areas, I can't take it, right? Because I'm understanding that this is probably the lower time frame closure above, right? As you do that, there is still a chance that price on the higher time frame hasn't closed above. If you have a 4-hour closure that's above here, then cool, we'll look for a bottom wick to continue up. But if it's a smaller time frame, I'll need a bottom wick that's relatively steep, right? Any given point, this candle will need more liquidity to push up because this is maybe not enough. You might see something that looks like this, and coming back down into this range. Yo, let me draw something like this, right? You may see this, and then as you come down, oh no, as you come down, you may be tapping into these areas now, but even if it doesn't, and you create this, what we mentioned initially, right? You now get a closure back above here. This is your new higher high. Once you get that, cool. We'll look for the buys off the rip here because you've come down, you've grabbed liquidity after breaking out. So you've found support, and now you're creating that new high, right? So in terms of market structure, made a new higher low. And now once you break this high, you should be pushing up to create that new higher high. So that's what I'm looking for. And that's basically the buys to continue up. Sells. Let's have a look. Sells are actually more valid than you think, because we have this. We have this breakout below, right? Breakout below, came back up, grabbed liquidity, but you still haven't broken these highs, right? So if price does want to come down, I am expecting, a break of some of these highs, you know, either that or, the flip of exactly what we just said. If price does something like this, breaks the lows, I can't take this as a sell, right? If it then comes up, breaks the highs, then flips, yeah, cool, I'll look for that. Or case two, again, if it does something like this, breaks these highs and then comes down, then yeah, I'll look for these off the rip, right? Something like this, just to come down. Um, but sells, I'm gonna need a little more structure. I'm gonna see if there's anything we can use on the hourly for the previous. Yes. So at the moment, I'm still not looking for any sell wick entries. Um, because any given point, price could just mirror this to continue pushing up, and that's worrying. Yeah, I would say once you break below certain areas, we can then look for potentially some sells to come down. Okay, so sell one is if you okay, so at any given point, actually, I'm not going to say when, um, but at any given point, if price does something like this, ranges, right, or it's coming down, and you get a break of all the highs, I won't be looking for the sells wicks. I'll be looking for the flip of the candle to come down. And as that happens, we'll be looking for this to come do this, right? But we're understanding that this is then breaking all the highs to then break all the lows, right? If it does that, then cool, yeah, I'll take those sells. But if I'm taking a sell here, any given point, price is so bullish that you will just continue to drive. So I need the extra confirmation, which is the flip. And that can happen like really anywhere. For example, if it happened like around here, right, you had some range, in these sorts of areas here, and then you came up, broke all these highs, right, like towards here, and then you start flipping, yeah, I'll look to take this down towards the buy levels at 2031. So your range suddenly is from 2043 to 31. That's like 120 pips, right? But this, if it's like down in these sorts of areas, it doesn't need to be all the way up to those areas, right? So if it comes down like this, starts respecting here, right, and then starts ranging these areas, I look for a break of the highs potentially to these areas, right? And then we look for this move down to here. And in this case, right, looking to mirror this, looking to mirror this, you got top wicks up to around 2042, coming down to tap at least 2038, right? Even 2038.3. So that would be that's gonna be my full TP probably, which is 20. That's about like 40 odd 50 pips, right? Not bad. But that's if you start ranging down here, right? So if you range here, we'll look for those cells similar to this action right here, right? Where you had this, you probably had like a 15 minute range here for a while, started breaking up, no top wick here, right? You just started ripping up. So either price is going to reject from here, continue down because you made a lower low, or it's going to go up, right? In both cases, you're going to need to come down first to grab liquidity if it wants to go up. So the liquidity is down in these areas if it wants to continue up, right? And also because you had no bottom wick for this candle, I'd very much be expecting some tap of these areas here. So if you are getting in this trade here, I would say probably, looking to get out, full at around 2037. That's my full TP, I would say. Stops to break even at least, like, probably down here, right? Like 2040. Because if you got to sell at 2042, that's like nearly 20. That's 2042.9, right? Yeah. So that's like 30 pips. Connor, you're starting to understand the market structure I'm looking for, why. Yeah, exactly. And it's also about like where the liquidity needs to be grabbed. It doesn't need to always break all the highs, right? You need to understand which highs it needs to break, which lows it needs to break. Um, like for this case, right? Why is it only breaking these lows, these highs, and not all the way up to here, right? Because if it comes all the way up to here after respecting all of this, you're expecting price to continue back up, right? There's a zone where you can take sells potentially, which is, I would say, anywhere between here and maybe here. I would say is your like max is around here, let's say. That's your sell zone. Anything above here suddenly is like, ooh, cool, we can look for some buys now, right? Especially if you've ranged here. So it really depends. Like as price is moving, we're all thinking about like, Don, Wix, me, Janez, Hus, we're all thinking about like, oh, is this actually going to turn into a buy? Right? Because we're not afraid to admit we're wrong with the analysis, right? If the analysis is that prices ranging here, cool, we're looking for buys and sells, but the buys are in different areas to the sells, right? We can't just take a buy and it'd be like, oh wait, shit, that's wrong, take a sell, right? It has to tap certain areas, be in different ranges for me to take those. But why can't it respect 2037 but must respect 39? 30, so I mean it can respect 2037. I would say 2038, these sorts of areas in general. Down here, if it's respecting this, uh so are you saying if it like does something like this and it's coming down like here? Is that what you're saying, Colin? I'm assuming that's what you mean. And then like you're looking for the cells to continue down, right? Oh, like closes above, but respects. Closes above, but respects. Yeah, we'll just need to get you on the Zoom. You can draw that out later. But but yeah, I'll get you on the Zoom right now. So jump on the Zoom. Give me a sec. Let me just unmute you all. All right. Welcome, boys. Oh, you're eating? Ah, okay, okay. But you can ask that when you're. Yo, Jacob, how you doing?
Good, bro. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Missed out on a trading day, but it's okay. We're back tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
How do I want to continue trading if monthly closes above? We have no data. Yeah, I mean it's a valid point. We have not much data around those areas, but doesn't mean we can't trade it, right? What we're comfortable with trading is something like this. So if and when price closes above, let's say in like 2090, right? These sorts of areas, we'll just wait for price to do something like this and then break the lows, break the highs, cool, again some buys, right? So wait for the structure to get printed, and as it does, you can then take more trades. Um, but the only issue is there's more ambiguity when it comes to where you need to grab liquidity. So we'll probably be looking for less wick entries and more like flips or breakouts after liquidity has been grabbed. That's what I would say. Hey, yeah.
You were saying you had that level at 2039 that had to respect. Were you saying respect for like for sells or respect for buys?
I forgot what I said, man. What do you think I said?
I would have thought for buys.
Oh, for the buys at 2030, right? 2031.
Yeah.
Just look left. Let's just look at what the price did. It's that simple. Like I don't determine where it needs to be. For the buys, right? Cool. Like 30 minutes probably the clearest. Ideally, I can look on the 4 hour or the hourly. It might not show me as much. Yeah, but like something like this, where it's respecting 2039, potentially this zone here, right? And then it comes down, taps first entry, right? Straight up. Even this kind of is respecting like 2039, these sorts of areas. And plus it has no top wick here, right? But yeah, like that's what I'm expecting. Like if price is looking like it's ranging in these areas, anything outside of the range is likely to be liquidity if you haven't broken the highs yet, right? Once you break the highs and you're coming down, then cool. Could be wrong, right? But if yeah, for example, if you come down to here, that's why like I'm not looking for liquidity up here. Why? Because you've now broken all the way down to here. To grab liquidity up here, I'm more worried about this to be liquidity for us to continue up. Whereas this liquidity here, these cells are perfect, right? So if you do start ranging in these areas, I might get some cells towards like 2040, 2042. Let me try to mark this up.
Yeah, I was going to say that it looks like there's a level at 2042.
Yeah, 2042 looks to be a level.
I mean, can you argue that this like 10 o'clock candle is a liquidity grab?
10 o'clock. Oh, so this. Yeah, no,
Suppose
100%.
it was respecting, pushed really far down, and then we have some like
Yeah.
standard bullish structure back up, but it's not moving fast enough. I think it might just tap top of the range and come back down.
Yeah, so that's why it's a little bit uncertain right now. So like buys and sells kind of both work at the moment. You're just in this range. Wait till you break out, right, for liquidity or whatever, and then react to that. Within this range, it's now more difficult to play. But yeah, like for example, you respect it here. So even if you got into a buy like down towards these areas, I would say it's valid, like perfectly valid, right? But the only issue is if you replay back to here, as it's creating this, how do I know if this is liquidity or if this is just the top of the range, right? Like for example, if this is liquidity to come down, maybe we'll just continue ripping down because the top of the range may have been here. Does that make sense? So if you kind of just look at this, right, price ranged here.
Yeah, I mean the only argument against it would be that you respected 2042 and then didn't break, didn't come up for any shorter term liquidity, right?
Yeah, I mean like ideally.
You didn't break the doji candle high.
Yeah. I would say like if price, for example, in this case, if this here, this move here in the middle, if this pushed above and then it came down to these areas, yeah, like this is probably the liquidity grab because you're breaking below this, right?
Yeah.
Right? But now because you didn't have this, you probably need more liquidity, so this is more likely to be a liquidity grab below here. Right? So as you form this,
you can also just be looking for a flip on like the 15 or something. I wasn't watching what was happening, but
I don't know what time. 10 o'clock, right? I was in office, man. I was in office at like 8, so no top wick. I mean, yeah, you probably could have gotten some buys, to be honest. Not off the rip, I would say, because like
definitely not off rip, because we don't know if we tapped like top of range. We don't know if we're coming down or not. We don't have the structure, but once it came back up,
I would say probably once you broke these lows, maybe. But I guess the safer option, like, there's no need to always take these like exact wick entries when it comes in. It's nice when you get them, but it's like higher risk. The nicer trade, the one that usually plays out, is this, right? Where you have the move back up, you're looking like you're closing back into the range on like the 30 or whatever, right? And you come down, grabs secondary liquidity to start retesting those highs. Those are the nicer trades. But it's more difficult to identify where this is going to be. Occasionally you'll get no bottom wicks like this, so it's kind of nice. But for example, you got into a buy here. Let's say you didn't close off and it came all the way back to here, right? It's like, okay, is this now liquidity to come down? So it's more confusing, but that's why I think for tomorrow, I'm mainly going to be looking for outside of these ranges, or if price does like range really hard in one area. So for example, up here, if it ranges really hard here, right, and then you get a breakout like this, I'll maybe look for the break of these lows to continue down. But then I need to see a lot of structure being formed here. At the moment, the structure that's being formed is like across all of these zones, right? So if I just look at it as a whole, you can just say, oh yeah, this is just one zone. So I need more structure in different areas for me to trade all of that. But you can still potentially get some potential sells if you start ranging in these areas, you start waking up. But you'll need it to break these areas first, probably, or like, yeah, probably range below 39, I would say, and then potentially for the sells to 42. And if you want to get the buys, probably ranging above 39. I mean, if it ranges around 42, ranges above like 42 here at the moment, comes down, breaks all these lows, but you're respecting 42 on the hourly, on the 4 hour, then yeah, cool, buys here are perfect. But it's going to be a bit of a stretch. Do we have news tomorrow?
No idea.
Okay, yeah. But if we have news tomorrow, then maybe we can get, price to move all the way down to here. Because that's like what? 130 pips? No news?
Wait, no, wait. There is news. Yeah, there's quite a bit.
Okay, yeah, then maybe. Yeah, so if price does come all the way down to here, and it's news that's pushing it, I'm not going to get into any sells or buys, right? Because it's news. But once news comes out, let's say your 30 candle is like currently bearish like this. Oops, I need red. Let's say it is bearish like this, right? And it has no top wick, something like this, and it's respecting like maybe somewhere like these areas. So let's say your previous candle was a bullish candle that was like this, right? Something like that. Then yeah, cool. I'll look for the flip to come up, but I'm not taking the buy wicks here if it's news. And that's just me learning from previous action where, what was it? Where did price fuck you? Show yourself. Which dickhead? It was right here. This piece of shit. All right. Didn't break the highs. Continue coming down, but you didn't break the high. You didn't break the highs, right? Started breaking the lows. But it's just news, so it's difficult to take just the buy wicks, right? Especially when we form something similar to this, where you just have a range in this area. So wait for the flip. If it flips, cool, you can take that up because this will be liquidity. If it doesn't flip, it's probably going to come down. And if it wants to go up, it'll take a while to go up. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Red folder, GDP. Oh, wow. GDP tomorrow? Really?
GDP was today.
Oh. Somebody's saying unemployment claims. Bro. Like, who's got the actual news?
Unemployment claims, core
CP.
PC price index.
2 red folders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. Thursday is going to be pretty volatile. Thank God I came back today.
But yeah, I mean, I would have thought prelim GDP would do a lot. But,
Was that today?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
there was positive news, and it's GDP quarter on quarter.
positive, so bad for gold, right?
2%. Yeah, bad for gold.
Yeah, but I mean, like, to some extent, I would say bad for gold at the moment is going to be maybe a doji candle because you're so bullish. So maybe it's like, there's some balance that's been struck. I would also say like a lot of these moves, right? Like here, maybe you get the move and then price comes out. I think like we had news somewhere in between and it just did nothing. On what was it, on Tuesday? And it's just because price already made the move. So news wasn't gonna. Obviously, news can continue to push it up, but there is also a chance that it will just do not much. Gonna be orange and yellow folders. Jesus, how much news is there tomorrow?
A lot. Just generally.
No. Why is this so different to what I look at? The fuck?
From 130.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, tomorrow you could get a pretty aggro day, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Your daily closed above here, so I'm expecting it to push. Oh, you just open up as well. Let's see where it takes us, right? But I'm expecting a bottom wick. I don't know where to. If it does come down to 31 before news, I can't take buys. I would say if it comes out, news, is, for example, this news. When's the first news? News is at 1:30, right? So, for example, the hourly candle closes above. News this. And by the way, like, it doesn't need to close above like my exact levels. It just has to be above a level that makes sense, right? For example, you have an hourly closure that's like this. You then the next 30, maybe, or like the next two 15s, right? You have one that's like this, and then you have one that's like this, right? And then price just comes down like this, even if it's like the 5 candle, 15 candle that has like this, I'll still look for like an hourly flip potentially to continue up. So as price continues to do this, there's a high chance we'll just get some buys to continue up. We'll look for the flip of this candle potentially. Last day of the month, should we push down? Honestly, it's hard to say. It can, obviously, to leave a top wick for the monthly, but this monthly closure is going to be a Thursday, right? So you still have Friday, which is the weekly close. So it kind of doesn't align as well with like the weekly close and the monthly close. But you typically see candles on the monthly to have top and bottom wicks, right? So yeah, you probably won't see like a complete no top wick situation. But I'm also expecting price to the most ideal closure we can get for the monthly is if this happens. So if you don't fill up to these areas, I would say don't fill, and then you do something like this where you have your bullish candle that's like somewhere like this. Above here is fine, right? With the bottom wick down to here, and I'll say your top wick where it is right now, that'd be perfect. And then next month, right, we can look for a bottom wick, tapping into 1991 for bottom wicks, flip up to fill this range, and continue up. So that's what we're looking for for next month, right? Because then you're looking to tap most recent, right? Which is around these areas. And as you tap that, cool, we'll be looking to get some buys to continue up. But that's the monthly outlook. Just you have 2 days, man. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Let's see where it closes. Yeah, quite a lot of folders tomorrow, guys. But it's all good. We just react to price, right? 4 hour 2042, I think, is also a 4-hour level. Oh, I lied. 2043. I would say generally just 2039. You're just in this range, right? So now that you've still closed respecting, you'll probably see price, touch 2048. You'll also see price touch down to like 2039. You'll just range in this box for a while until you can actually like properly get out of there. So like if I extend this, right, and then I go to the 4-hour, just get a range here, top of this range, bottom of this range, right? Just gonna range there for a while. Once you range, you get a breakout below, right? You got this 4-hour breakout below, top wick back into this range. Cool, we'll take those, we'll ride those sells down, right? But don't get into FOMO sells here because then you have to hold through all this drawdown. Understand that if it wants to come down, you will probably see liquidity get grabbed, right? Because you haven't broke these highs, so you're gonna come up, grab liquidity to come down. In this case, right, you start coming down. Don't FOMO. Even if it's coming down to here, you'll probably get some sells, right? But any given point, you understand that price is probably going to need to come back to this range before you're able to come down. So it's looking pretty good, right? But yeah, guys, that's basically it. Early Christmas for how much market impact should Jay Powell's speech? Man, Jay Powell is literally gold. Whatever he says will literally move gold. It doesn't matter. Like, it's crazy, man. The man has so much power. He's just a money printer. God bless my money printer. Anything else, guys? If not, I will probably any questions from the Zoom boys? I feel like we didn't get too many questions today, but I feel like it's more a kind of react to price tomorrow sort of day. Not much to analyze here. Oh, Jacob's just heading home. Yeah, cool. But yeah, generally, I would say with the daily being, still bullish, but you're starting to see some rejection, some struggle here. You probably will need to see a break of the lows to continue going up, right? My DXY chart analysis. So I can do a day chart analysis with gold, but no, not DXY. Is there trading in December? There is trading every single month. I don't think, yeah, like there is just like I don't see why in December there's no trading. I mean, obviously when it's like Christmas Day and like whatever, probably don't trade, right? There's no volume. It's gonna be weird as fuck, right? But if you're used to trading those public holidays, then yeah, cool. But for me, probably not. Can we go down to 1950, 60? You can definitely come down, right? Price can do whatever it wants, but we're not expecting it to come down. With price action being so bullish at the moment, your monthly is about to close above all-time, monthly highs. So, if that's the case, why are we expecting price to come all the way back down to 1950, right? If it does, we'll look to take sales to come down to there as, on the smaller time frame. But just off of price right now, I can't tell you that price is going to come down all the way down to 1950. Yeah, but for example, right, if price starts breaking these lows, and then you break the highs, or you don't break the highs and you start breaking the lows again, cool. We could get some sales, and even though our TP is not going to be down at like 1950 or whatever, but we're understanding that this is pretty clean traffic all the way from here down to these areas, right? So we can probably look for some pretty aggressive sales to come down if it wants to. Um, but yeah, again, it's difficult to take any sales at the moment. Like even if you just look at these candles to the left, right? I couldn't have taken any sells at these areas, even though I could have been completely correct, right? It's very difficult because what's to say that price is definitely going to reject it? Jacob, are you going to get home already? Jesus Christ. But yeah, guys. Oh, we have 37 people. What do we peak at today? 42 people? Nice. Is this useful for you guys? Any questions in the chat? Anything you don't understand about price action or about, Don's strategy, the motion strategy, liquidity, a bunch of that stuff? Useful? Nice. Was it worth staying up till 4 a.m. or waking up at 4 a.m.? Gosh. Also, it's not just me who does this breakdown, right? Like, Huss does it, Don does it, Wix does it, Janez does it. Just, you don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. just to listen to this, right? If you want to, yeah, feel free, but
No, you don't understand. You're the best one, you see.
nah, there's no way, man. How can I be better than DonVo himself? One day, we'll all be really profitable traders, and then yeah, DVS will just be on top, and then maybe you'll be leading some group. You'll have some fans as well, Johnny.
Yeah, right.
I mean, do you see yourself potentially streaming and doing analysis stuff?
No.
No.
Not.
Yeah,
Or,
fair enough.
Not
For now, at least. Yeah. I mean, I never thought I would, and then here I am. I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm ever streaming in my life, man. Like man, they're so sad. These streamers, that's just all they do. They just stream, and now I'm one of them.
Yo.
Sup. Any questions?
So yeah, let me see. I had a position.
Yeah, any buys to go up from here to here, invalid. Any sells to come Any sells to come down to here, invalid. Any sells at these areas, invalid. Any sells up to here are invalid. Only valid things are potential buys here, potential buys here, and potential sells here. Not even there, like right here. And then potential buys here. So in total, you could have had 4 positions today, max. But this, I would say, is towards the end of the session. So 3 positions, max. Let's see what you got, Jacob.
I'm still pulling it up. Mind you, give me a second.
But you guys all understand why I couldn't trade anything up to like 9 a.m., right? Well, obviously I was sleeping, but how many trades do I take in a day on gold? As many as price, gives me in terms of like setups and entries. If price gives me these, right, I'll just take these trades. These trades look nice, right? Because they align with what I'm looking for. I would say this is a high risk. I would say max 2 trades today probably. This one was a bit risky here because you don't know if this is liquidity to come down. If this was liquidity, you'd probably see this push further down. Maybe 2 positions, I would say. Today I would have taken 2. Some other days maybe like 10. Some other days maybe
All right,
0.
so
Yeah. So
yeah, I took when this 4-hour opened, I took this buy right here.
oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, so I had Don's level. So is this makes so Don was saying that he was basically seeing that the 4-hour close respecting below, right?
Let me have a look. The 4 hour like here, yeah. So if 2039 is a level.
But then I kind of just seen on the 30 it respected, like if you drop back to the 30.
Yeah, so just I think 2039 is a potential level, but you also because there's not enough price action here, I don't know if the level is the level could be anywhere from 2039 all the way down to 2037, right? So in that case, all I can kind of look at is, like the hourly and the 30. And as this is printed, you have this, right? So I wouldn't have potentially taken this first wick as it came down to here, probably the second wick, because I would have needed it to like respect. I mean,
This candle.
Yeah, this may have closed below. Who knows, man? Let's look at the 30.
It also looked like a 4-hour onion.
I mean, you could say it was here, right? If it was here, then yeah, cool. This respected as you came
That's what I
down.
was saying. Like Don, once I seen it respected that level, that's what I was thinking.
I would
I kind of
say,
switched I moved my level from that. It was because I was thinking the same thing as Don, that it closed respecting on the 4, but then once I looked at the 30, I was like, oh no, it closed respecting here, and then I just took it as like a 4-hour onion, and then I just got in on the wick.
yeah, I mean, fair enough, right? But it's just Don wouldn't have taken that because he needs the higher time frame confirmations. But it's kind of it's difficult because you can't really get higher time frame confirmations at these times because you're at all-time highs at the moment, right? So
What do you
it's
mean by that?
you don't have data, bro. Like, where's the level? On the 4 hour, like, can you tell me very exactly where's the level that's respecting or disrespecting, right?
No,
I don't know.
yeah.
It's anywhere from like 2039 to 2037. So this entire range, I don't know if this is closed celery below or like bullish respecting,
But
right?
couldn't you just say it closed like respecting below here?
I
Like when this
mean,
candle
yes, but
closed like that?
you also have this wick here, right? Because that's the bottom, like that's the
Yeah.
bottom of the range for some time frame. So what is the actual? It's just
Yeah.
all we can tell from this 4 hour chart is that it's struggled around here, right? On the hourly, you could say, okay, cool, you had some struggle around here. Hourly, you maybe close below. Who knows, right? You made a lower low at this point. If the hourly did close below like this, it might have been difficult to take those buys. So your buys would literally, if you were to journal them, right, they would only be valid on the 30, 30 maybe 15,
Only on the 30?
30, 15, and
So not on the 4?
no, whoa, no way on the 4. Because you're just looking at like if you're just looking at the 4, right? You had this push up, now you're coming down, right? Cool, you understand that if you want to come down, you need to grab liquidity, but you can't say that on the 4 because you don't know where that liquidity is. You don't know where the range is. It hasn't respected anything yet. Plus, you don't know where the range is, like where the level is on the 4. And also, you have this massive top wave tapping into these areas, 2043, 2042. And then you've just this wick rejection here is like 40 pips, right? And then like it's just looking like it wants to reject. Like you at some point this candle was all the way up here, rejected the close down here. So to some extent, it's yeah. I would say it's definitely not on the 4. I would say it's just 15 and 30.
Because you close respecting back in the range.
Yeah, because the 30 is like, okay, cool, you faked out, you came back up, you filled the range, you respected bottom wick breaking below, potentially to look to take this up to this range here for at least break even, and then potential runners, right? That's how I would have
So
played
for
it.
the setup time frame, I put that down as a what I put it as I put so would I put it as an onion or a breakout
Um,
or a fake out?
yeah, there's no setup or entry for this. It's just kind of us reading price action. You can maybe create a new one for yourself, because essentially it's just respecting, right? You could kind of say it's an onion, maybe on 15, where you had like this, maybe, yeah, onion and then a wick, maybe,
Yeah, that's what I had already.
yeah. Cool. Right, I'm probably gonna end it around here, guys. But thanks for joining up. Tomorrow is the last day of the analysis for the week, I think. So, are you guys all gonna be there?
Nah, bro, I'm not coming.
Nah? Alright, cool. You are banned.
Might as well call it off, you know.
All right, bro. Yeah, peace.
Yeah. See you guys. See you tomorrow.
Thanks.
No worries, guys. On the YouTube live, thanks for coming up to the live streams. We peaked at 42 people. Thank you to everyone who kind of pitched in, asked questions, engaged and all of that. Glad to see some new people on the streams as well. Hopefully this was helpful, right? We do this basically every single day. Obviously, there is no breakdown on a Friday night because there is no gold charts on the weekend. But yeah, just make sure to come back. Make you some money. That's not my job, right? You have signals for all 3 sessions. I do not need to provide signals. I just need to provide education for DVS. Yeah. But I mean, hopefully, like the education side is actually more profitable for you in the long run, I think. Unless you just trade people's signals and you have a way of making this work very, very long term for yourself, then yeah, cool. If that's your way of thinking about it, then yeah, that works. Yeah. Knowledge is key for me. I think is key for everyone. Yeah, like I think we all want to be able to do it ourselves. So because we understand, we can be better than the charts. We can be that top 1%. So it just takes some effort, but we can get there. But yeah, cheers for joining up, everyone. I will be returning tomorrow. I will let you guys know if I'm returning tomorrow. I think I have some things I need to do tomorrow night, but it might just be a little bit delayed, but it should probably continue. But yeah, if that is the case, I'll probably just end it here and yeah, speak to you all tomorrow. Thanks for joining in. Yeah, peace.